consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine you first.
Oh. Where's makeup? Okay. Rational exposure to hair dye, so he's a bit vain about his appearance. That's okay, happens. Washed hands in a hurry. Lavishly expensive. Yeah, I think he hides his age. Hmm.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
Damn.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
Oh, okay. Cufflinks, where are they? Ah, there we go.
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protege and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Okay. Hmm.
I've no idea about that.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
Really?
Good guess, but the wrong one. The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
Okay.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here with you alone.
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true laborers, I see. Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public.
Okay.
He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
Hmm.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment.
Okay.
Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
Hmm. Manchester had feelings for Fabio. Um. No. Manchester set himself up for debauchery. Manchester wants himself up to murder. No, I don't know if that's the right one. Right, where's Mr. Santos?
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Where's Mr. Santos?
This area is restricted.
Okay.
Don't look at them. They'll serve us if necessary.
Are they all still partying in here? What? You look like a gangster. Hmm. I'm guessing Santos might have been let go then. Mm-mm. Oh, and you talked to him in the archives, okay. Hey up, mate.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him.
Okay, cheers.
Stay here. They brought him in, Mr. Holmes. Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
Cool.
This area is restricted.
Oh, 7 should be down the hall then, right? 5, 6, 7.
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
Why did that just increase in light by itself? Alright. Hit multiple times. It means he didn't get paid much. Stepped in blood. Colored more than once. Oh, he's got something around his neck there. Psoriasis or an allergy. Terrible miser? No, I think it's financial difficulties. Hmm.
You are the majordomo of a rich mansion, and you seem barely able to afford decent clothing. You hide under heavy makeup a skin disease that might be treated with more onerous but less harmful means. Do you have money troubles?
Do not have a lot of means. The pay is below what you might expect.
But you could easily change your job if your employer does not meet your elementary needs.
One can change his employer, that is true.
And the blood on your shoe, where does that come from?
Yeah, you hadn't noticed that, had
I
you?
don't actually know. Perhaps from a guest?
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always Fabio-centric.
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests. Unlike Fabio...
Yeah, we've seen evidence of that. That was relatively short. Hmm. Failed to notice the bloodstain on the left side of his shoe while cleaning himself after the murder. Santos Panchetti failed to notice a bloodstain on the side of his shoe while cleaning himself after the murder. That might be the case.
Please let me out.
Oh, some stuff here.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
Small note attached to the will says, Santos, my hopeful slug. You begged me to include you in my will, so I did. Here's the latest revision of my of the will. Text of the will under the note. Santos Pachetti, the majordomo of the Manchios Mansion, receives a jar of mustache wax and salt lamp. Wow. He's carrying... That would have pissed him off. Yeah. That gave you strong motive to kill his favorite.
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a majordomo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle.
Oh.
And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love. Cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a majordomo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. This guy's 100% behind it. Let's go talk to Mr. Manchos real quick.
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your major domo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
Lovely.
You've got a lot to do, Sherlock.
Please let me out.
I know I can handle the news.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Okay. Let's go talk to the copper.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Really? What in God's name do you want me to do? Am I not making the right connections? What am I missing?
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
What do I do, John?
What a bunch of losers.
Thanks. Help was ever. Any evidence I missed in my room? No. Any evidence on you lot? Oh wait, in the evidence room. God damn it. There's an actual evidence room. I think it's across the way, isn't it?
Did you hear Basilio Copello is in jail? A dead body was found in his shop.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, a ritual murder. What a bunch of degenerates.
What a bunch of
Wait a second.
degenerates.
I'll bring it to the table.
Right.
An emergency kit for boredom.
Letter was found in Vogel's evidence box. Is your mind unsound? You can't control your bitterness? Not around me anyway. For me, it's too great of a risk to ignore that kind of behavior. I can be speak and play. Wait, I think that's misspelled. I can speak, play, or can be, or speak, or play with anyone I choose to be. Okay. I'm not another Matista. You pay me, but you haven't bought me. Of course, I'll keep your generous donations, even though they hardly compensate for your last terrible outburst. I'm leaving you, although Matista will still be around. Fabio.
Not the time for privacy. Werner's personal sketchbook. It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings. Her key to the altar room.
Wait, she had a key to the altar room?
That's not for bedtime reading. This ex libris belongs to Manchios Library.
He's found this occult book in Matista's bag during their arrest. According to the ex libris, the tome was taken from Mr. Manchios' collection. It contains illustrations and depictions of a ritual similar to the crime scene. Prepare the naked body of the recently deceased object of interest. Draw symbols of Mars and Venus to enhance the power you possess to use the force of male and female nature. Pierce the heart with a golden dagger to be rid of the blood that does not love you. Draw a symbol representing your love while waiting for the resurrection. Recite the charm.
The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Thank you, officer.
Yeah, before we do
Did you hear
the Mind
Basilio
Palace.
Copello is in
Let's oh, wrong way.
So, the police found a letter from Fabio in your pocket.
I cannot tell if it was truly in my pocket at all. Perhaps it was placed there later.
Oh,
that is
stop
one
it.
hypothesis. If it were true, then how did it get there?
No clue. But this night has been rather eccentric. Such a detail could have easily eluded me.
Indeed. Do you recall reading it?
I can't remember that either. But I tend to respect privacy. Reading others' personal notes is not one of my perversities.
this book, The Power of Love, Blood, and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or
Okay.
was it a coincidence?
The universe is rarely so lazy.
If you say so.
Hmm.
This is the letter the police found in Mr. Vogel's pocket. Fabio wrote it. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. Although I can feel Fabio's energy. It's there, but it refuses to let me analyze it.
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? Sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
Okay.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead? They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
Hmm.
I've read this letter from Fabio. It had no addressee, but it was found in Mr. Vogel's pocket.
Werner? Strange. I didn't think the two of them corresponded.
I'm sure there is some explanation. Would you care to read it?
Call me superstitious, but I don't care to read a letter from a dead man.
Okay.
Please let me out.
Okay, so can't do anything more with those. Hmm. Tista may have used a ritual on Fabio. Hmm. Or to Santos Panchetti and by the content of the letter, it may have been addressed to Kurt Manchus. Hmm. No? Hey, who should I talk to about this?
Please let me out.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protege wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
Okay.
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchos.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for
You being on a bender?
touche.
When it's updated. Who can I question about the letter now? Huh?
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchios?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Okay.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchios?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
One last person to talk about with this.
Please let me out.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy.
Yeah, I'm thinking like that. Boom. Yeah, Manchester might have gotten bitter. No, I think it's this one. Yep. No, he really doesn't care about people. That was proven the way he treats his nephew. Oh, deserves to be hanged. Ooh. Is there any other outcomes I can come to? I can come to her being the... I don't think it's her. No. There are 3 options here, man. Oh, I hope I'm not wrong, because you can be wrong.
My party.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
Okay, so we did get all the points for that one.
Continue our investigation while I look for the papers.
Oh, I have to go accuse what's-his-face, don't I? I hope he confesses. J'accuse.
The murder of Fabio did not have a ritual purpose, Mr. Manchios. It was staged by a man who wished to distract the investigation.
That might be true. That poor girl Matista wouldn't dare to kill the only man who cared for her. So, Santos.
Mr. Pinchetti snatched at the chance to solve his problems.
Ungrateful little scum. Will he be executed?
But what for? He informed the police as to the crime, that was all. He couldn't stage the ritual, but he found the body, I believe.
I can't believe it. Why did Werner do it?
Mr. Vogel, he had no reason, and he won't be a scapegoat as you plan. You put Fabio's letter in his pocket when he was intoxicated, didn't you?
You can't be serious.
We can very often deduce someone's life by their shoes or their fingernails. You are a meticulous person, but this murder was fairly traumatic and filthy. After you stabbed Fabio, you were covered in blood. You panicked and neglected to rinse the soap from under your fingernails. The devil is in the details, Mr. Manchios.
Nonsense. I missed it simply because of the busy schedule of the party.
Of course, a stage
Hey,
was
Puff.
certainly not planned. You're at the twilight of your life. You have no partner.
I
you
think
have
it's
no
this guy.
children.
I am like
You had feelings, however, for
95%.
one man. That was Fabio. You loved him. That is, you wished to own him with money and gifts. But he was also a free mind, was he not? He turned his back on him. Quite unjust. Love, so cruel and painful. And Fabio, with his words and deeds, made you feel the more wretched. So you killed him.
You must surely perceive that my sensitive nature wouldn't allow me to hurt anyone.
Oh, I've seen your aggressive side, mate.
You staged the murder as a satanic ritual. It was easy for you since you were the one who wrote the scenarios for the parties. It was your way of avoiding suspicion. A respectable man in his 60s,
Early 60s.
who hosts the cream of Cordona society, cannot possibly be a murderer.
I believe it's not better.
But the guests who behave like animals in his mansion, of course, one of them could have killed Fabio.
I did oversee a few of the rituals, but I did not stage Fabio's death.
The young performer played with your emotions. That was painful to realize. You spent so much time and effort to be with Fabio, but he didn't respond in the way you would have liked. You wanted to be loved, but Fabio shattered your dreams. In the smoking lounge, he teased and mocked you. He wanted you to suffer by offering himself to others. The deception was unbearable. You struck him, and then you staged the ritual. You planted the letter in Vogel's pocket and attempted to set up Matista.
What poppycock? Sherlock, stop this game now.
There is no stop word, Mr. Manchios. Relax.
No safe word.
And enjoy it. I'll pass the remainder of this case to Constable Oswald. He'll know what to do with you.
The more I start thinking about it, the more I start to doubt myself. But if it's not him, then it's Santos, I think. Not sure. Oh, they all had... I don't like it. I don't like it. Please tell me you're right.
Kurt Manchios.
Is that so? The master of the Sabbath?